more important question for us today is whether we care and why. Here in Chatham and Harwich, about 2% of the population lives below the poverty line. The masses of poor people are in distant cities that many of us moved from when we moved here. While we certainly have problems here of substance abuse, occasional violence, and theft, by and large the problems of the inner city are out of sight and out of mind. I don't have a plan for eliminating poverty in this country, but I do think it's something we ought to be talking about. The government guaranteed income and housing, for which Dr. King called, is only one way to approach the problem. Right here and now, some of you are working on pieces of the problem, like affordable housing, hunger and homelessness relief. What ideas do you have to bring to the table? Because I think it's important that we keep dreaming our dreams. Dr. King's most famous speech is built around the phrase, "I have a dream." Last Thursday night in Tucson, President Obama echoed King's speech and challenged us all to dream. Here's what he said, in part. Our task working together is to constantly widen the circle of our concerns so that we bequeath the American dream to future generations. They believed, and I believe, that we can be better. Those who died here, those who saved life here, they helped me believe. We may not be able to stop all evil in the world, but I know that how we treat one another, that's entirely up to us. That's what I believe in part, because that's what a child like Christina Taylor Green believed. Imagine for a moment. Here was a young girl who was just becoming aware of our democracy, just beginning to understand the obligations of citizenship, just starting to glimpse the fact that someday she too might play a part in shaping her nation's future. She had been elected to her student council. She saw public service as something exciting and hopeful. She was off to meet her congresswoman, someone she was sure was good and important and might be a role model. She saw all this through the eyes of a child, undimmed by the cynicism or vitriol that we adults all too often just take for granted. I want to live up to her expectation. I want our democracy to be as good as Christina imagined it. I want America to be as good as she imagined it. All of us, we should do everything we can to make sure this country lives up to our children's expectations. Unquote. Martin Luther King Jr. dreamed a vision which he and we have come to call the beloved community. We're a long way from there, but it is vital to maintain the dream. Whether we receive our inspiration from Jesus, or the Seven Principles, or Buddha, our faith calls us to work toward the beloved community. In addition